As you can see, this is the box where we got Kamen America from. Just gonna pull out the comic. Yeah, look at that. Looking crisp and clean. Oh, look at that. Look at what I got. A thank you sticker. Thank me. I even got the sticker of Kamen America. Looking good. You could see the costume, and you could see that Kamen America takes a lot of, references, Miss Marvel a lot. The whole design of Miss Marvel, the tight costume, the curvatures on the female body. And they're not ashamed. Not the updated version of Miss Marvel with Camilla Khan, not that one, but the original Miss Marvel. You could tell there's they've taken some. I'm saying they've been inspired by that Miss Marvel's whole look and feel to that character that no longer exist in the Marvel universe anymore. I mean, look at this costume. Look at that, Miss Marvel and Kamen America. You could see the likeness, and like they always say, it's flattery to see when somebody references a character. And Kamen America is very upbeat. I like the whole design, But now let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. Now, the review. Now, I read the book, and I read it, and I'm going to give you a very well thought out, in-depth review of the comic. And let's start. Let us begin with the review of Kamen America. You know what I'm saying? Let me get out of this section. And you could see a lot of people, and look at how much it's raised. Kamen America raised about $20,000. That was on Kickstarter alone. And on Indie Go Go, it raised $18,000. It's a 56-page book. He usually puts it on Kickstarter first. Then, for those that missed out, he puts it on Indiegogo, so they could, if you missed out, you get to support it again. You know what I'm saying? So now let's go and review this book. I'm going to give you a very in-depth review. And, I've backed the book. I've ordered the physical copy of the book. So let's start. The review of the book. The book opens up with a, thank you message for the backers. And this is the PDF. Look at that. Thank you and all that. And then you got the cover, very nice cover of the character. And, a special message by Doug Tenaple. And, this is a digital copy. This is the Indiegogo copy of the book. And the book starts off with, what I'm going to do with this review is that I'm going to go in depth, and I'm going to skip around on a few pages, but the book starts off with her at a young age. It starts with her at a young age playing baseball. And what I'm going to tell you about this book, on BACKER'S BACKPACK, on BACKER'S BACKPACK, I'm going to give you these goals. When it comes to this book, you're going to have a choice to either, put it in the backpack, travel with it, go wherever you want with the book, or leave it behind, or mail it back, or basically, trash it. That's what this review will tell you to do, so now now the biggest, now I'm gonna start off. I know most people start off with with a review by just reading a book, but I'm going to tell you my biggest problems. I'm going to tell you the problems with the book and the positives. The great thing, and I'll give Kamen America this, the artwork of the book, you know what I'm saying? You'll get to see. The artwork of the book is, it's amazing. Look at that artwork. The artwork is just amazing. It looks like a cartoon. It looks alive. Some anime inspiration. The artwork is downright amazing. It's an amazing piece of artwork on the book. From start to finish, you could tell Tim Lin put his heart and soul into this book. I love the artwork. Now, the weakness of the book, the biggest weakness of the book, I'd say, is that it's the writing. The writing is the biggest issue with the book. The writer of the book, in my honest opinion, the writer had a great concept. He's great with concept, but the problem with the writing concept aspect is he wasn't great at executing the final version of the book, as in the final perspective in the story of the book, when it comes to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through certain pages of the book, because Kamen America, in my opinion, and honest opinion, and here's the thing, I'm not going to be telling you like other people, I feel. No, I'm going to give you a full in-depth review, and I'm going to tell you whether you can put it in the backpack, go wherever you want with it, and whether it's a solid, great book. But the thing with the book, and I'd say its biggest weakness, is the writing, because the writer had a great concept, but the execution on the writing, it fell flat. There's going to be a lot of scenes where it was rushed, and the writing, in my honest opinion, could have been a lot better. And there's some scenes that we'll go through from the book that I'll display to you. For example, we'll start. Now, on the first page, it starts off with the main character of the book. And this is her right here, the little girl, playing baseball, innocently enough, going to gym, playing baseball. And you could tell she's worried. She's not experienced. She's not great at baseball. And the other boy, the boy about to throw it to her, looks like he's aware of this. And when he throws it at her, you know what I'm saying, she got beamed in the head. Now, this is where the writing starts to become the issue. The setup is nice. You open up with her when she was younger, 11 years ago. You get to see her as a child, and you get to bond and see her, that she was a person and a little child before she's just a superhero and all that old typical stuff. Now here comes the problem. Now in this sequence, she bumped her head. You know what I'm saying? She bumped her head playing baseball. And here's the thing. She bumped her head playing baseball. And she's with her father. Now, now the writer and what Tim Lin and a lot of them are trying to do is that they're trying to showcase comics where, the little girl, it's okay to be a little girl. It's okay to be feminine and so on. But this is where, because a lot of them are against the whole SJW culture of, masculinizing women, like they did with, Captain Marvel, you know what I'm saying? And comics in general, where they've turned She-Hulk to a she-man, where she's built like the male version of the Hulk when she was supposed to embody femininity and actually showcase that her strength is her femininity, and unlike the anger, aggression, and masculine bruteness of the Hulk, she was supposed to be the polar opposite. But the problem with Common America is when it opens, you see she's in her house. She explains, she's talking to her father about what happened in a baseball game. And, he's like supportive. I thought you, and here's the problem is that instead of talking to her father about she had a bad game and she got hit with the baseball, and a lot of the writer and Timothy Lynn are trying to go against that whole forcing women to be masculine and all that. But the problem with this comic, and it starts right here, because the pacing was perfect on this first page. She's a young girl trying to play baseball, and she gets hit, whatever. But here's where the pacing in the book starts to fall flat with the writing. Is that okay? She's in her house, you know what I'm saying? She's explaining to her father that, what I'm saying, that she got hit with the baseball. And that's all well and done. I do hate it more now than ever. She's explaining how she hates baseball. But here's the problem. She then blames her, her teacher for forcing baseball on her. And then the father basically says, he'll talk to Miss, the teacher for trying to force baseball on her. And she explains, and this is where the script starts to fall flat, is that they have her, I'm assuming she's probably 8 years old or 10 years old. And this line right here, where her dialogue is that of a girl in her 30s. For example, she's talking about how her teacher forced her to play baseball. See, she said that girls can do everything that boys can do, that boys do, that girls should do everything that boys do, and that I was setting a bad example to do other girls by making dresses. So she's talking to her father about making dresses and so on. But what doesn't make sense about this whole sequence is that her dialogue is that of she's complaining like she's at the age of 30 and about feminism, and all that. But when in reality, she's a little girl, and little girls, we all went to school. You're going to have gym class where you'll play kickball, baseball, and so on. And it kind of showcases to you, as you could see, all the characters are male that are playing a sport that, he's overselling that, only boys play sports. When we all went to school, the girls played kickball and baseball alongside of us. It was called gym. And what happens with this is that what it does is, because a lot of these guys going against SJWs and feminism and all that, they don't get that they're selling a propaganda and an agenda as well, because you're putting it so far in the face of the public that you're saying, only boys should play baseball and so on. Rather than, for example, this scene would have worked a lot better. Okay, she played baseball. Maybe she's the only girl in her, her class, whatever. But that's broken up. She's playing baseball with the guys. She gets hit with the ball. Her father supports her and says, "You'll be okay." And she says how it was, how she never wants to play baseball again, and that and he tells her, "You should keep trying. It's okay." And then she tells him she's going to go make a dress, but instead, get these sequences, like, for example, listen to this dialogue and tell me it's from a 10-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying? "I do love making dresses, but she says girls aren't supposed to do that anymore. We aren't supposed to sew clothes or play with dolls or bake brownies. We're supposed to play baseball and lift weights and, I don't know, chop firewood." And this is all about a girl in gym class playing baseball. It doesn't make sense that it's kind of like the writer saying girls shouldn't be in gym. They shouldn't participate in gym class. It should have just been she played some baseball with the guys and she got hit with a ball. She tells her father what happened. I got hit. She's crying. He supports her, gives her a hug. Then she lets him know she's going to sew something. We don't need it all in our face that, a girl should be sewing dresses as though girls shouldn't be allowed to go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? That's where it hurts the script. Then she goes further on about explaining how, girls should not be chopping firewood and doing all this. It's kind of like they're saying girls shouldn't be taking gym. You know, it's kind of sending a mixed message on that aspect. It's about the writer aspect, you know. Now, we'll fast forward, she grows up, she grows up, she's in the USO, she's a dancer now, and she makes the clothes. She's going to go further to explain that she designed the clothes, but at the same time, it kind of makes the character Kamen America, and let me see her name when she grows up. It kind of makes her very narcissistic also because look at this. So did everybody like the show? She gives the encores and everything, and did everybody like the outfits? It becomes that she's so focused on what she did. A more wholesome girl next door character would just be, did everybody enjoy the show? Let's sell it. Thank you and all that stuff should have been thank you here. What does the outfits have to do with it? The designing the outfits. You're here to entertain the USO, and this takes place in the USO. Guess they're entertaining the troops. But she brings up that everybody liked the outfits because she created it. And then we go further. She goes to showcase as she feels underappreciated. I worked so hard on those outfits, and I know the dancers are who everyone came for. But here's the thing. She was one of the dancers. And how does it make sense that everyone came for the dancers and you're blaming the dancers for taking the credit when you yourself were a dancer? So she says, I know the dancers are who everyone came for, but you want them to look good, right? And what doesn't make sense is she was a dancer. Now, if she was the person that just made the clothes and made the announcements, it would have made sense, So, she goes around complaining to the driver what's going on as they drive from the performance, which is in a fictional Middle Eastern location. And and it kind of shows that she's doing what she loves. She designs the clothes, but she's so, narcissistic where she wants credit for everything. And then, as they drive, some meteor shower comes, and I'm going to start breaking down certain sequences. So she sees, okay, the meteor, she's, why is the sky green, and boom, there's a car crash and everything. And a meteor's heading towards the car. And this is where, further problems start happening. And I'd say on the writing aspect where they overwrite sequences. And if Tim Lin reads a lot of manga, you let the character's emotion and expression sell the scene more than just dialogue. So what happens is, the driver says, hang on there, but here's the problem. You know what I'm saying? She says, are we being bombarded? Stay calm and all that. And this is where the problem, and this is part of the writing where, where, for example, if he's so scared, if the guy's so scared, and it kind of exposes that, the military guy doesn't care about her. It would have been better if he just he's running for his life. Why would he say, you'll be fine, just stay in the car? And then, hey, what's happening? Where are you going? You should have kept that dialogue, but he should have been running for his life and said, you need to get out or something like that. Why would a good soldier be just telling her to stay in the car while he's running away? And then this sequence where, she says, okay, it should have been she's trying to, she sees him running, she's going to start hitting the door and try to escape. You know what I'm saying? Should have been more sequences of fear and distress. You know what I'm saying? So she's just calm. And then a meteor hits the car. I think he should have had more sequence where maybe it should have been about 2 to 3 panels where the meteor's coming, then it hits. And then now, like I said, I'm going further into the writing. Then now this part right here, he has a caption says 1 coma later. So okay, she's in a coma, and they let us know they're in Area 51. And what's going to be exposed here is that the writer likes to repeat himself a lot when it comes to the script. So she wakes up, what's going on, you know, what's going on, where am I? The scientist tells her you have awakened, and the scientist tells a joke. But why would the scientist tell her this is supposed to be a top secret facility? Why would he tell her she's in Area 51? You know what I'm saying? We, the readers, should have known she's in Area 51. One of the problems with the writing on this book is that certain aspects of the tone doesn't match the location and the seriousness of what's going on. So you have the scientist open up. He tells her we're in Area 51. He does some jokes, thanks her for charging his phone. And, she's waking up. She's got static all over her. And the thing is, the scientist isn't wearing any protective suit or nothing to showcase how serious this is happening. But it's okay. He's doing more of a joke approach with it. And, he tells her a joke about she's woken up 500 years later. She's in tears and all that. But here's the problem. He starts, you know what I'm saying? They start mentioning coma a lot, and then mentioning where she's at, Area 51 again. He tells her he wouldn't, if Area 51 is so important, and we all know how it is, it's held dear, they would have never told her where she's at. They would have told her she's just in a hospital or, a lab. We're trying to help her out. And then, she asks some stuff about access. And, they tell her don't go there. And, the scientists test her. And here's the thing, it goes to showcase why isn't the scientist wearing any protective gear? She goes into, and the other thing is, why would, if he's been studying her in a coma, why would he send her into a radioactive thing to measure radiation, knowing how electrically static she is, that it could explode? So it explodes, then the scientist is in a coma. And this is the part where, the story goes further, I'd say, down the hill when it comes to how the writer writes the story, is that, he's a scientist working for the government, Area 51. She just got saved from a Middle Eastern country. That's the other thing, is that if she was in a Middle Eastern country, they had to transport her all the way to Area 51 in Nevada. They wouldn't have let her go so quickly. So they basically offer her a job to work for the military, and she declines. They explain to her all the health benefits and whatnot. But this part, it messes with the tone of the story. Why would the American government spend this much money to get her from a Middle East when she was injured, then basically just, all that money that was spent to get her here, they're basically gonna just allow her to work, allow her to choose whether she stays or not. What would have made more sense from a writing perspective is that they're telling her they're gonna let her go, and in reality, they're studying her from afar. So they're gonna let her go, and they're gonna let her know that she now works for the military. They're gonna explain certain aspects. So this is serious. But the writer just, to me, another problem with this comic is they try to make things, it's like the writer tries to put so many jokes or not such a serious tone that he ends up messing up how serious the tone should be in certain scenarios. And a lot of the book ends up like this, where the tone is nothing more but nothing matters and it's not serious. It's on to the next. It's written like it's supposed to just keep going to the next page. And, so instead, they basically offer her a job. The military just spend God knows how much money to get her to this base from the Middle East to test her, and they just tell her she can get out and go home if she chooses to. Instead of, it should have been the military's gonna let her out, should have been the military's gonna drive her back home, and they're still gonna be running tests, and they tell her, we'll keep an eye on you, on your condition. That way you could sequence that. Maybe the military's studying her to figure out her powers. Maybe the military's studying her to potentially, copy and replicate her powers. Instead, they just tell her, a super powered woman, they just let her go. And they let her go. They didn't escort her out of Area 51 secretly, like maybe blindfold her. That would have worked so she doesn't know where she's at. Like, this sequence should have been they blindfold her, and the military people walk her out, and then it should have been they drove her home, but instead they have that her friend picks her up, and like her and her friend are talking, and then they further push on, this, and look at that. She just drove to Area 51 that easily. It takes away the mystique of this location. And then her and her friend talk, and we get, they reference the coma again. It should have been that the military soldiers drop her home where her friends were waiting for her. It would have made more sense of how serious this, how serious what's going on. So, her and her friend talk. She talks about not being happy. Then the agenda goes further into it. For example, she talks about when she was a kid, you know, her friend, you could tell by how her friend is dressed that she's more of the ideal image of what a womanist, or womanist, since YouTube blocks things, ideal version of what a feminist is. You know what I'm saying? Glasses and stuff, attractive. So she talks about her childhood, and she explains that as a child, the teacher didn't bully her, that teacher that forced her to play baseball, which, you know, girls are allowed to go to gym class also, which didn't make sense on that part. But she explains that her teacher, and think about this, at age 10 or 5, her teacher, she explains that, the teacher didn't mess with her because I wanted to be I think it's geologist, geologist. And she was all about the science, told me to grow up, get that degree, and break that glass ceiling like it was still 1955. Basically talking about that at age 10, her teacher was basically telling her that she needs to become a scientist and grow up. And to me, my thing is, Tim Lin and the writer are trying to push the more, that push, they're referencing the whole, with how they say science, because in comics, Marvel just says science now for a lot of reasons without explaining. The problem with this comic is they do a lot of telling instead of showing. You know what I'm saying? It would have been better right here in this sequence where, she showcased what was going on. But in all honesty, it makes no sense that at 10 years old or 8 years old, when they were little, that a teacher would be forcing them to focus on degrees in college. One of the biggest problems, a lot of the creators going against the SJW narrative, is that they end up, further empowering that rather than just write a sequence where it's not there. You could have showcased that she, as a little girl was into, she played her baseball and went sewing and needling, what I'm saying? Maybe her girlfriend wasn't into that as much, but the whole thing of just bringing up that her teacher tried to force feminism on her and remove her of femininity, that it just doesn't sound natural, and it's not something that usually happens. Girls are allowed to participate in gym class just like the boys. And maybe she didn't like it, but it's like a lot of it's kind of like it's kind of like the way this book is written. The writer says we're not for removing femininity from characters. You know what I'm saying? Removing femininity, and they explain, she gets back home. I like the fact that she has a cool capybara as a friend. And, you could see the design, but let me go further. Basically, she explains a dark cloud's been following her since their trip there, but as you can see during the trip, there was no dark cloud. It's a lot of continuity errors. And you end up reading it and you scroll back, you don't see what she was talking about. So a dark cloud was following her, and what happens is this dark cloud, and this is where a big issue happens with this being an origin comic, is that, okay, the lightning strikes her. It strikes her from the dark cloud, and it gives her yellow hair, and it gives her, yellow hair, green eyes. He's referencing the whole Super Saiyan thing with Super Saiyans, but rather than, and then she says, I'm blonde, but she doesn't even look in the mirror to see her powers or nothing. And she's levitating. And rather than have it that she's shocked and in surprise and worried, you know what I'm saying? She just joyful and blissful and you know what I'm saying, just enjoying it. And you don't have any, like, a lot of indie guys do this. Like, I read a comic called, and I love it, The Midnight Tiger, plan to review it. It opens up, they write the comic as though they're writing an established character. So they don't allow you, the reader of the book, to basically bond with the character and go through that journey. She got struck by lightning. Instead of having her, what I'm saying, frantic, maybe in fear and in shock, maybe she damages some of the room a little. They just have it as she gets her power like it's nothing. And to me, this is where the beginning of Kamen America starts to become what I call a sexy Mary Sue. It's just the power comes to her, and it's like it's always, and she's always been prepared for it. So she gets these powers, she's levitating, and then she just goes, I'll call myself. She's not worried about her condition, what she's going through. It just automatically, in one page, panel 1, 2, 3, she skipped her entire origin of growth. That moment of her being worried, being scared of this ability and this power. But then again, the tone was set that she wouldn't be worried with how, how the military handled this situation. So she just starts thinking about, her name and her power and what she'll call herself versus worrying what's wrong with me. Allowing, to me, you would have spent about maybe a good 4 to 5 more pages of showcasing her struggling with this new ability, trying to hide it, or trying to figure out what's going on with her. Instead, you as the reader do not get that moment of growth with her that would lead to more investment into the character. Because Because, you know, a lot of these superpowers and stuff, we've been there, we've done that, we've seen all the powers in the world, but it's bonding with that character and their journey that's important, you know. So basically, and then you fast forward to after this panel, you fast forward to that her agent who was employing her agent, she just goes to him and tells him about her power. And they inform her that she's been knocked out in a coma for a week and that monsters have popped up out of nowhere. And, you know, she has to go handle. And she just tells her agent she has powers in front of someone she doesn't know. Instead of having that, she goes to her best friends and, you know, tells them about this power she now has and what's going on and what should she do. She just goes to an agent. You know, you introduced her friend who picked her up. You know, you introduce her friend who picked her up. And instead of going back to her friend, she goes straight to some her agent that gives her a job. And then the other thing is this: her agent already has an agency to handle superheroes and stuff like that. And you could see a lot of sequences where they just keep making jokes. For example, she brings up you know, her agent asks, you know, what happened to her parents, and she just explains, oh, well, mom and dad moved to Progress City. Like her mom moved and they put, wrong, your parents are dead. You can't be a hero unless you're an orphan. You know, referencing Batman. It's just the sequence doesn't make sense. Why would she turn to her agent rather than her friend who picked her up? In that case, her agent should have picked her up from that Area 51 sequence. You know what I'm saying? And then he referenced a hero's template. The writer tries to put in a lot of jokes that, you know, they fall flat because of the tone of the story doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? That's why I say the writer of this book, he's great with concepts, but the final execution tends to fall flat, you know. You know, they explain this and how come the agent, it would have made more sense that the agent, she really trusts her agent and maybe she spoke to him. They had a private meeting after she talked to her friends and then she showcased him what she could do. And, you know, him being a person that likes to take advantage of her, maybe he basically, you know, convinces her to work for him and be a superhero. But the thing is, involving this agent, it makes the character less wholesome, you know, less heroic for a purpose. Then it becomes she's working for her agent. The agent tells her, you know, shows her that monsters have been here for over a week since she passed out. And, you know, I like the whole fun design of the monster. You know what I'm saying? Monsters have been here for a week. And, you know, the agent tells her she's going to have to face this monster and they'll give her a she's going to need a costume and a name. And here's the thing, you know, and it kind of, this should have been a moment of fear. What would have been better if she wasn't working for agent, that maybe her friends were in danger, or maybe she after training and practicing with her powers, she spoke to her friend and felt like she has to do something. Instead, she's working for her agent, and the agent tells her she's going to have to be a superhero. And this is where the Mary Sue aspect comes in, is that she just knows how to fly now, is just comfortable with her powers. And, you know what I'm saying? She just flies. There's no struggle. You as the reader don't get to go on a journey with her and see her grow as a character to get to this point of being super empowered. And you could see, I said the reference of Miss Marvel, the original Miss Marvel, with the whole design. You know, Tim Lin, you know what I'm saying, he's doing a callback to her, but it's Miss Marvel with a Captain America twist. And, you know, she announces her name as Warhen and all that, but but it falls flat. You as the reader, you don't see this moment as a moment of accomplishment because she just gets the power and jumps into action and is working for an agent. And then for some reason, some homeless lady's here. And then the monster bites her. And this is where the Mary Sue aspect comes in, where the monster bites her. She overpowers the monster. She runs for some reason and then shoots power and one shots the monster. This was like a Marvel comic where Captain Marvel one-shotted a supervillain and all that. There'd be a lot of rage and anger, so she just one-shots the monster and then gets claps. Her agent starts promoting her clothing and such. It just makes this character not as wholesome. It removes the whole wholesome aspect of her character's origin because she's working for her agent. So let's go further. Her agent showcases, he starts promoting her clothes and whatnot. She goes on like a spree, just beating up villains. You know what I'm saying? She goes on talk shows. She's getting photos. Just like what you would see on Marvel, where a lot of the new characters are focused on being heroes for fame and fortune. He just has her taking photos and he references Walmart. But it's just that this whole origin of the character damages it, damages the wholesomeness of the character. And I'm going to start skipping some pages. You know what I mean? She eventually helps the homeless, but it's to help the homeless, not to help them like, let me get you to a shelter. It's more of, let me just give you something I'm wearing. Kind of feels like, okay, peasant, here you go. I'll give you my scarf. Gives her a scarf. And, the talk shows joke about it. She has a issue with her agent and this unknown guy. You're supposed to be a superhero and you just give away your identity to an agent who wants to work you down for money. You know what I'm saying? And the character started as a whole wholesome character. She has an issue with her agent. She confines. And this is where I love this sequence. You could see that's Beavis and Butthead. Shout out to Tim Lin for that. That's dope, Beavis and Butthead. And, they kind of, to me, this is where they say, because we're not SJWs, look, we support guns, we're conservative and all this and that, you know, he mentions his father on the store, we're conservative. And, it's basically a lot of this book ends up feeling that because I'm conservative, I'm not an SJW, I can get away, I can get away with, give me 1 minute. I can get away with my character one-shotting the villains. I could get away with my character being a Mary Sue. You know what I'm saying? That her origin has no wholesomeness to how her powers were obtained and how she even introduces the world to her powers with her origin, her agent. And here's the other thing. It's another flaw is that her agent just brings on that there's a major, she's going to have a sidekick called Major Babe, and there's no origin to it. So they just manufacture a new character, then her sidekick. And this is a part where, it kind of goes in the same grain of your Marvels and DCs. It's that, her sidekick's going to be a black person, somebody under her. It could have done it that her team, her Batman was gonna be this lady, but instead it's gonna be her underling. It's gonna be this black girl. And then the other thing is how her agent just manufactures a new superhero without question. It ruins the specialness that she's supposed to have, that she has these abilities. It's rare. Instead, you got a new partner we just came up with called Major Babe. You know what I'm saying? That the story on this, the execution, and she snaps on her agent, let me skip it. And then she just comes up, you don't end up caring how she became Kamen America. okay, I broke up from my agent because he didn't understand me, and aka a man tried to push his agenda on me. The patriarchy, a man tried to push his agenda on me, wouldn't listen to me and all that. It's kind of getting a very SJW vibe to it when you look at the whole notion that the man's the problem, an unknown man who's creepy, you know what I'm saying, an attractive, cool looking cowboy bebop guy. And then she just goes, I'm Kamen America. There's no, you know what I'm saying, there's no journey of growth and fear towards her becoming who she is. So she just lost her job, then she stopped working for her boss or her agent, and she became Kamen America. Fast forward, she was talking, and look at how backwards is it. Now she introduces herself as Kamen America to her friends, when in the beginning it should have been her friends that she confined her abilities and her secrets to. And now you could see her hair turns orange when she's depowered, to further reference that Dragon Ball Z aspect. And she finds out that her friends' parents are in the middle of a war, you know what I'm saying? And they're missionaries, whatever. And I don't want to go too far into it. She gets there, she fights this chick who's been, training. And here's the thing about this story is that if you read it, it turns out that if you look more onto the logic and reasoning, this Misha uh, Lavokovic actually ends up being more of a superhero, because she further explains she's been training and practicing her powers and learning them while Kamen America's been flying around, for attention and all that stuff. Not gonna go too far. They have a fight. To me, the fight sequence, Tim Lin could have referenced more manga with how he showcased the action. You know what I'm saying? And they fight and all that, but they fight, and it turns out that this girl's into, like, her, they fight and all that, and she's less experienced. She's fighting a military grade, been training for my powers and all that, and they're even, when in actuality this character who has military experience should not just be punching her and tossing powers at her, should have been trying to choke her out, incapacitate her, make her pass out. And they fight, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, as they fight, she reveals, and this is the part that really further hurts the story, and something we, the reader, should have known, is that this character explains to her as they fight that, her power, boom, she fights her and all that stuff. Then hitting her with a big power attack. And the thing is this, they just keep having her hit her, and it becomes like there's no showcasing of weakness with this Natasha character. There's no showcase of weakness, like she's losing power. That may be because they both share an origin of their power, that them fighting each other actually weakens their abilities more. While you're watching this, it becomes more of, like the majority of the story, due to the writing, it becomes more of, okay, what will the writer do next? You're not emotionally invested, of the character and what's going on. Kamen America looks sweet and kind and all that. But as they fight, instead of us knowing this and learning this in early pages, the Natasha character explains to her that she has about 3 hours to be fully powered, and that and the other thing, she explains that her flying here wasted a lot of energy. And as they fight, you know what I'm saying, it eventually, to end it here, as they fight, they eventually become friends, because it ends up that Her and the Natasha character share the girliness. They both like to sew clothes. It just says that because and like I said, a lot of this calls back to what SJW say. If you like what I like, we all just agree to the same thing. So eventually her and the Natasha character fight, and turns out the Natasha character's into sewing and cleaning, sewing and making clothes, and they become friends and all that. You know what I mean? You know, but that's about it. Common America allows you to see a lot of wholesomeness. We don't get to see wholesome characters anymore, female characters like like a Supergirl. You don't get to see that happy. You don't get to see you know what I'm saying? You don't get to see wholesome female characters anymore that are just happy and smiling and saving the world. And that's what Common America, that's the biggest I'd say the biggest the biggest joy that fans like Common America about is that you see a girl, she's wholesome, but when it comes to the story of Common America, that's where Common America, in my honest opinion, really, that's where Common America, in my honest opinion, really hurts itself. Is that the story and the whole buildup is that Common America, in my honest opinion, is selling off of the lack of the lack of other wholesome female characters. And Common America is also inspired by, give me a minute, let me find this character. Yeah, and you could see that Common America takes takes some inspiration also from Patriotica. You know what I'm saying? But Common America is more of I'd say PG-13 Patriotica, And the thing is, with Common America, since I heard Tim Lin also worked on Patriotica as well. So, he took some liberties from Patriotica. That patriotic female character, blonde, blue eyes, I actually like the design of Patriotica. You know what I'm saying? But Patriotica went more of the Power Girl design. But you see, Power Girl, but yeah, so he took some scenes from Patriotica. But to me, in all honesty, when it comes to this comic, a lot of it, in all honesty, what ends up hurting Common America. But the thing is this, I'll say this after the explaining to you my gripes. The thing is this, Common America's artwork is amazing. The artwork on the book is amazing. Now the story around the book, it falls very flat because the character, you could tell they push the character as a very wholesome character, very inspiring character. But, as you read the book, you find out that Common America is very, it's very, I'd say her whole origin setup is very bland and it falls flat because you're trying to make it about a common American. It kind of is a play on word on common American, but her whole origin is basically very corporate. She works for an agent. She doesn't really confide or reach out to her friends until the last moment. And then you, as the reader, do not get a chance to truly grow with the character. It's more of a forced event when it comes to how you're allowed to view the character. And all I can say with Common America for Backers Backpack, I would say this for the artwork, it's worth, I mean, if you're into a good artwork, it's worth it if for the artwork. But the build up on the character and the storytelling, after you read the book, it just, you don't end up caring for the character. It's because to me the writing of Common America, it's what hurts it in the long run. There's no build up or where you, the reader, get to build a relationship with the character. Like when you watch Spider-Man, you saw Peter Parker struggle with his powers, learning it. You saw the whole montage. Common America just gets her powers and yeah, she already knows everything. She knows how to control it. I must say this, the look and the appeal of the character, it's gonna help, it's gonna help Tim Lin in the long run. Character has a lot of potential, but at the same time, the big problem of Common America is that due to the lack of storytelling and the lack of breakdown, and I think it's because Tim Lin is more of a artist, as a writer who's worked with artists. A lot of time the artists are more conditioned with the visual, the visual, how the character looks, the setting and all that. They're not as, what I'm saying, they're not as fine tuned with the writing. And in my honest opinion, Common America has a lot of potential. If the writing gets better, and I plan to review Common America too, but Common America isn't. And I would say this, Tim Lin's raised over 40 grand off Common America 1 alone. But because of how the storyline is being told, Common America is in a position, in my opinion, to be replaced if Tim Lin doesn't, in my honest opinion, you know, makes the story a lot stronger. Like, for example, I'll show you a character with a very similar outlook. But I'll give Tim Lin this, the whole design, the fact that he referenced Miss Marvel's original design. This is a very wholesome PG-13 clean design of a character, unlike this different character I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you another character like because the way Common America's set up, if Tim Lin doesn't, in all honesty, perfect the writing, and I'd say get a better writer on the book, like you could see this character raised $10,000. Her name is Titana, phase 1 and 2. I mean, it's more sexualized, and I'd say more of a, more similar to a Patriotica, but another female, blue eyes, blonde hair, that's a superhero and all smiles and such. I mean, it's more adult, to say the truth, but the thing is, the way I look at Common America is that it has potential, but also it has the potential to be replaced. And you have another series I'll show you. I'll show you this series. There's some comic about another comic, Spinneret, it's a volume and all that. The thing is this, what Tim Lin's doing, she's filling up is that wholesome, kind, and beautiful female lead character. And that's what's, it's what happens, that's been in demise since, Captain. I'll show you something with Captain America. The rise of the very masculine female lead character. Look at that. Captain Marvel. I mean, they've basically, and Tim Lin is appearing to be the counter culture to the masculine version, Captain Marvel. This is a good look of Captain Marvel. But let me get back to it. But to get back, I would say this. If you're looking for the artwork and a wholesome female character, and you don't mind the quality of the story, I would say you can, I would put this in the book, I put this in a backpack. But at the same time, I would say this, that you could also leave it behind if you want to, if you're not going to put in the backer's backpack. So to me, I'd say the story falls extremely flat, but the artwork, thumbs up on the artwork. But this has been Backer's Backpack, and we'll be covering Kamen America 2 very soon, Volume 2. But by Volume 1, I'll say the artwork. If you're looking, you're looking for a nice, wholesome female character, at least to look at and artistically enjoy, I'd say you could back Kamen America. But the thing with Kamen America, and I'd say this to Tim Lin with its potential, is that you have to get a stronger writer, because the writing falls so flat on Kamen America, the very first origin of the book. What happens is it's harder for you as someone reading it to someone reading the book. I have the book right here. You know what I mean? It's harder for you to care for the book when you read the script, you read the story, and the story just falls flat. There wasn't much memorable about the story, but I'd say the artwork, top-notch artwork. So I would, but I'll see when I read Kamen America Volume 2, maybe the storyline is gonna get a lot better. Because to me, leaning on the fact that there aren't that many, because the thing is this, man, there aren't that many lead female characters out there that are number one. I mean, besides Supergirl, derivative of Superman, She-Hulk, a derivative of Hulk, the number one female character has always been Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's the number one, lead female comic book character American. Other than that, you've seen a lot of books come and go, but the number one, and that stands alone at the top of the mountain, is Wonder Woman. And to me, Kamen America has the potential to be that next Wonder Woman. And another thing is, it's a pro-patriotic female character. Not something you see done well much, but the costume's amazing. The entire costume of Kamen America, you know what I'm saying? The costume is just, it's just amazing. The design of the costume, the patriotism, red, white, and white. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful costume. The reference to Dragon Ball Z, to how her hair becomes yellow when she powers up. I wish her eyes were green too, but you know what I mean? The whole design, Kamen America to me is a star in the making. It's just that the script, it falls so flat. It's like, it just said this gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and I would say another thing that's hurting Kamen America is how long it takes for the next volume, and especially since that book was like 60 something pages, it's not really a whole lot for you to consume. And it ended up that the book felt rushed. She got her powers, boom, she's now fighting. So, they need to slow it down. And in all honesty, Tim Lin needs to, with how popular Kamen America is, I'm aware of Kamen America 2, well, how popular it is, Tim Lin has to cycle its releases a lot quicker. Even his other book he has called Hops. You know what I'm saying? Let me check it out. I'll show it to you. Uh, Tim Lin, what did you create? Yeah, created a series called Black Hops. You go on the campaign. Created a series called Black Hops. I just think Tim Lin needs to push Common America more. I'm talking calendars. I'm talking, because in the long term, you have a strong support structure. The problem is the production of more material and merchandise that the public could get. And Tim Lin, to me, needs to push the production of Common America, especially with how it raised far more. I think Tim Lin usually asks for, Tim Lin usually asks for about $2,000. And, he raised 20,000 on the first volume of Common America. I think a lot more of that money should have gone towards producing more Common America related products, be it merchandise such as t-shirts, calendars, posters, and more books, of Common America. Because one of the big issues with a lot of guys on Kickstarter is that you make over 500 times what, 100, you make over 500 times what you asked for. And instead of producing more books, you have the public wait more. And the more you have the public wait, the easier you make it for yourself to be replaced. You got your Patriotica, you got your, you got books like, what I'm saying? Books like, like a Titana. I didn't read Titana, but I'm just saying you make it easier to be replaced by these type of books because you yourself aren't producing more of you're not producing more of Common America. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, in my honest opinion, is hurting the series, is that the production, the pacing. It shouldn't, in all honesty, it shouldn't be. You should, at the most, if you're doing Common America as a graphic novel and a volume series, the public should get at least 3 to 4 a year, especially if you asked for 2,000 and you made 20 grand. It needs more to produce the series, because to me, Common America has a lot of potential. I'd say like I said, the story really needs work. Story falls flat in it. You don't bond with it. But if the story got better, and if Tim Lin, I would say, further increases its spread and basically more production of the book. But to each his own. But I'll say this has been Backer's Backpack. Tune in for the next episode. And with Common America Volume 1, I would say, you can put this one in the backpack and take it with you. But you're gonna do it mostly for the artwork. Not really the script. The artwork, amazing artwork. And in all honesty, if you don't think much, if you don't think much, you'll read the story, it'll come and go. All right, guys.